Good morning, Algo artisans. What is up? It is Cowboy, and it is now 8:31 a.m. EST. And I'm going to share the screen. We're going to take a look at the market. Not a lot of news coming out today. Not a lot of economic data, I should say. Whatever news comes out, comes out. We don't generally know what it's going to be. We don't know the future around here. If we did know the future, I would be on a yacht with my new friends, as Ron White would say. We did have an interesting day in the markets yesterday, though. So we'll start with the E-mini, which is basically SP 500 futures, and we're going to show how that affected Bitcoin, right? Because yesterday had a weird price action day. So looking back through halfway through this year, through about May or June, you can see that it's been mostly up for the SP 500. We did have the pullback that started in July and ended in early August, had to do with the Japanese yen, some changes in their policy, and now things have more or less equalized in that regard and are pulling back up. And we did expect for price to more or less go sideways into the election, which is in less than a month now. So that being the case, I think price will either go sideways or up. I can tell you high time frame, the algos are bullish high time frame, and that's going to affect everything. When you have like the SP 500, Dow Jones, I think is even more bullish. When you have these kind of indices being bullish, generally that's going to make everything else bullish because a lot of your money is kind of in and out of these indices, right? And I'm talking about money around the world, a lot of your investment type money. Yes, Forex is the biggest market out there as far as volume, but remember, a lot of FX reserves have to do not with trading, but to do with actual using of money. So it isn't like it's all a bunch of traders out there trading that many dollars per day. That said, yesterday was interesting. Now, this is a daily chart, what you're looking at here, right? Each one of these candlesticks is a day's worth of price action. And the all-time high was made kind of over and over again after 18 September. You had a new all-time high, and then you had more or less of a new one that mattered, 58.30 in 26 September. And then that got broken, and we have a new all-time high on the 14th of October here, and that was at 59.18. And I did say that 6,000 by the end of the year is what I think would happen. And again, we had some people who didn't think that was possible. I said that months ago, especially back when we saw this big pullback. People were rather surprised and like, weren't expecting 6,000, but it came right back up. And I do expect it to either come close to 6,000 or break it by the end of the year. Very, very possible, well within the trajectory. 6,000 is not that far above price right now. And this beats a lot of estimates from a lot of other, even the machine here on, let's go here on the right. It's hard to see on the bottom right, but you can see they've moved their estimates. Even here, it's June for the. It's hard to see in the bottom right here. You can see my mouse moving. Even they've upgraded their move to 6,000 by mid 2025, but before they had it much further, I think we got 6,000 coming on up. It could be any day. I mean, it's just these markets can move. It only has to go 150 points right now, less than that, 135, and it has moved that much in just 3 or 4 days, let alone 8 weeks or whatever we have left. So that said, let's go ahead and look at yesterday's price action, and then we're going to compare it to Bitcoin to see how I believe Bitcoin was about to rally up and keep going. And then this happened in the morning and it pulled Bitcoin right down with it. We saw a pullback in the SP 500. So it was a big rally up and then just a very sudden move down. And that happened mostly within a pretty short time. If I were to actually jump down to the 30-minute time frame, we can see that the biggest kind of move, the biggest scary move, was within an hour. It was very quick, very, very quick. These two red colored candles right there. And the rest of the day, it just continued to dive down. And finally, the plunge protection team came in and grabbed the move right here. It's got some liquidity also, probably from some algos and other traders right around here where some of the prior price action was on the left where this square is. And as it dipped into that, the plunge protection team appears to have stopped it from heading down, and they keep doing that every time it dips into this area, it has this liquidity to help, and then they push it right back on up. So it does appear that they want to keep the market healthy running into the election because the incumbents will look good, right? And the incumbents have a lot of influence on what happens with the market. That's why they're incumbents. So they're going to want to have the market not dive prior to the election because that's most people vote with their wallets. Despite you talk about other issues, it comes down to money almost always. So we'll see how this behaves. I mean, technically, we could be looking at a pretty big head and shoulders right here. But I mean, if that was the case, then you could see price fall pretty strongly. If this became a head and shoulders, the metric would be more or less. Price would want to come back down to 5,800 or so, maybe. 5,830, 5,800. That remains to be seen, though. We haven't seen that form up yet. We don't have those metrics yet. Just a what if scenario. So don't think too hard about that. And if I overlay Bitcoin on this, we're going to see how it affected the Bitcoin price. So let's go ahead and overlay that. Where's my typical? I'm not seeing my typical option here. We'll just, I guess, futures. That's why. Here we go. So you can see Bitcoin itself actually continued up. It pulled Bitcoin down right as that happened. You see this big nasty pull down. And then as this started to stabilize, you can see Bitcoin continued up. So this is very, very bullish for Bitcoin. So I'm going to flip the chart over to Bitcoin and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. We got a comment here. Lisa, speculation on crude oil stocks. I think we're going to see a lot of sideways until up. I think eventually it is going to pile up. We can, Lisa, you're with us in the private room, right? Let me know if we are. Let me know if you're in the private room. We'll cover that in there. But you see Bitcoin freaked out, pulled down right there, and rotated right back up once the SP 500 kind of calmed down. So I think right now on the higher time frame, Bitcoin is like, this is a sort of an introduction to the new bull, right? Everything is looking very bullish now. Even the higher time frame is starting to crick up, which is what I was looking for. So it would not surprise me at all to see this be the beginning of the move back past the all-time high. And it is in the region where I am slightly bullish, right? I'm slightly bullish at this point. And you know me, I'm like not one of those people. Okay, Lisa, we'll look at crude oil next before we move over. But I'm not one of these people that's a moon boy. And, I have some estimates on Bitcoin for the new all-time high that are not that popular. I think 95,000 might be it. And I know that's really disappointing to a lot of people. The reason we might see that has to do with a longer conversation. But if it were like the past cycles, I'd be looking at 200,000 or, 160,000 or, I'd have different numbers than that. But just based on some of the structure of the market, it might be that we don't see it go past 100. We'll see about it. If it goes past 100, it does. I'm positioned to make money on that, certainly. But in this case, it does appear that Bitcoin might be starting to touch where it needs to go to break. Now, I'm not really big on these kind of diagonal trend lines. It's not really my thing, but a lot of people are, and it might even be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I want to see price go above 70,150. That's what I want to see. When price goes above that, I'm going to start to get a little bit more bullish, right? That's when I'm like, okay, we might be now at the time where price might break that all-time high. And of course, once it breaks the all-time high at about 74,000, that's when I'll be, in the bullish mode. But I do want to see price break the high here because that will really violate the downtrend, right? The higher time frame downtrend, it will look violated. I mean, it could be violated now. It's all about how you look at the price action. We're not going to get too far into that, but that's my number right there. 70,120. Break above that, stay above that for a few days, and you're going to have me start to feel relatively bullish. We'll take a quick look at UK oil before we jump over because Lisa is our friend, and we want to make sure she understands what's going on with it. Now, as far as crude oil stocks, I would need some information on which stock you like, right? I would need to know what stock you're looking at. But as of now, things are not looking that bullish with crude oil. It's been bottom crawling for a while, and things in markets in general tend to bottom crawl longer than you think they will. right? Despite what's going on in the war, despite whatever wars are going on, despite, this is not a very bearish, bullish look right here. This is a bearish look. And what I mean by that is that what you're looking at is, get the proper tool here. You have just a continuous lower highs in the top, and you have the same number being protected across the bottom right here. The same number right here. So that's just what that is. And until you have some higher highs going on, then the price of crude oil itself is probably not going to go up. And so I think it will. I think once crude oil breaks like 95 and stays above 100 for like maybe a month, that's when we're starting to see a lot of stuff happen. But until then, I don't really have a lot of like, I'm not looking at crude oil stocks and going, oh man, this is the place to be, right? So that's what it is. Let me go ahead and get prepared to move over to the private live lab. So look, over at Algo Factory, what we do is we help people build trading algorithms. That way, if you want, you can actually have them coded. We don't do the coding, right? That you got to find a coder to do it, which is extremely easy to do. But you can build a trading algorithm, and it doesn't require for you to write a single line of code. It's just whenever you trade, any successful trader, they all use algos. I know it sounds like some crazy algorithm and there's computers and you got to do code, and it's nothing like that. Brushing your teeth is an algorithm, going to the store is an algorithm, and any successful trader uses one, whether they know it or not. So we teach people how to build them properly. We teach them how to actually manage everything. If they're going to have trading, we teach you how to treat it like a business. We teach you trading psychology. We teach you. And we are aimed at, of course, people who are already traders, because you can jump right in and do things. But we do have, we have the capability to teach people from the beginning. I've got a couple of clients who had never traded, and they're actually building successful algos as we speak. So come on over, algofactory.tech. We will do that for you. We'd love to see you over there. And zap the QR code, top right-hand side of the screen. That'll take you to our website, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Join us or die.